Okay, so Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Tonight we come here, and I know that over the past several months we've missed the beauty of our sanctuary with stained glass that is showing up behind me. But I think that there is something that is really sacred about the way that we come together every Friday night. Even with our little tiny screens all over the place, we form these foundations. Um, One another's boxes are the foundation of our community. We uplift one another. We welcome in this day of rest and reflection and of joy. And so let us begin our Shabbat service celebrating that. And I invite everyone who has candles to take them out at this time as we prepare to bring some radiance into our community with the light of the candles. Please join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. And we continue our welcome to Shabbat with this cup overflowing with joy, this cup of wine, as we join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lemase v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, זכר לציאת מצרים, כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים.
L'chaim. And finally, we turn to our blessing over the challah, which you can maybe see with the background. And earlier today, we had many of our half-pint families come and pick up dough to make their very own challah. I know that many of us during these months have been making such beautiful challot, so I invite you to bring them and to join me in offering words of blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lachem min haaretz, b'tei avon.
Hey Avon, Shabbat Shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, chiri biri biri bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Chiri, biri, biri, bim. Bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Maya Hayom, what makes this day so beautiful? Shabbat Shalom, the peace of Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach, and may you be blessed. Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach. Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach. Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach. Shabbat Shalom. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. Be strong, and we will be strengthened. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. Candles burn in the window every Friday night. Listen close and look within. Be part of our life. We're singing together joyfully, passing love along. Shabbat keeps our family. Week by week, we're growing strong. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. Be strong, and we will be strengthened. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. Lecha dodi, ligrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabla, nekabla. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach.
We turn to the words of the Baruch Hu, calling ourselves and one another to worship.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Adonai Eloheinu, Melech haolam, Asher bidbaro mariv aravim, Bechokma poteach she'arim. God of creation, who makes the evening fall from light into darkness with the setting of the sun. You unfold the heavens with brilliant moon and stars, and wrap our souls with peace. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Melech haolam, Asher bidbaro mariv aravim, Bechokma poteach she'arim. Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim.
Adonai, with love and teachings, your love and teachings are never ending. With your gift, Torah, we remember that you are here for us always. When we learn about our history and see the Torah marched before us, when we celebrate the holidays together with family and friends, we remember that you are here.
Sorry, Rabbi.
That you are here for us always. When we give tzedakah and help others through mitzvot, we remember that you are here for us always. When we say the Shema at night and when we see the sun shining in the morning, we remember that you are here for us always. Thank you, God, for your love and your gift to us. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Blessed are you, God, who loves your people, Israel.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise. Bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be a symbol, that they may be a symbol between your eyes. Write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise, when you rise, when you rise.
We turn to the words of Micha Mocha, where we express our wonder at the miracles that we experience each day, our wonder at the miracles that our ancestors experienced so that we can come together as community and pray with our freedom, celebrate community, and celebrate this special Shabbat day.
כיבד אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Throughout the month of Elul, we've been coming every morning and saying the words of Psalm 27. And in particular, we start each day's Elul reflection by singing the words of Psalm 27, verse 4, in which we express that there is one thing that we want from God, to be within the sanctity and the comfort of God's sanctuary. At troubling times, at challenging times, we seek the shelter of God's sukkah. We turn to prayer on Shabbat and each day in order to connect with God and to feel that comfort. And so too do we turn to one another. As I mentioned before, we are the foundation for one another. Community is what holds us up. And so as the boxes on our screen form a foundation for each of us, may we be uplifted on one another's behalf. May we be uplifted by one another's prayers. And through this Hashkivenu prayer, may we all find comfort and peace and hope.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom, Ve'ha'amidenu shomreinu lechayim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. might. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Baruch atah Adonai hapores sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al kol ha'amim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai hapores sukat shalom. Shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. We continue with our Amidah, Hatfilah, whatever it is that you call it. It is that moment when we stand before God and we have the opportunity to come before God's presence one-on-one and have a conversation. So I invite you now to stand if you wish, or remain seated if it's better for you, but bring yourself into God's presence as we ask that God opens our mouths so that we may declare God's glory and speak with the Holy One of Being. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. We invite you to continue with the words that are written upon your hearts in silent meditation. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום, כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
Tonight, during the first Shabbat of the month, it is our tradition to tell a story. And I am excited to tell you this story, which happened a long, long time ago during one of the forgotten dynasties. There was an emperor who was growing very old. His legs creaked when he walked. His hair was as pale as a piece of paper. His breath rustled like the leaves on a tree. But despite all of that, his wit was still sharp. His wit and wisdom were the pride of the empire, envied far and wide. And this was good because he had to solve a big problem. He had no kids, which meant there were no princes or princesses. So he had no successor. There was no one lined up to rule the empire once he was gone. As the days and weeks and months went by and he realized it was growing close to the time when he should allow someone else to rule, he took time to sit on his throne and ponder. Of all the children in the land, how could he choose who should be the next emperor? Should he choose the strongest, the smartest, the kindest person? What was the most important quality for an emperor to have? What should he decide to test? He thought so long. His white beard grew another inch, and then another. Monsoon season came and went, babies learned to crawl and then walk, and during this whole time, the entire empire was on edge, wondering what would happen. Finally, he knew what he would do. He thought of the perfect test, and he told all of his guards and servants and advisors, and they set out to fulfill his decree. He had one of them go forth and find all of the most promising children in the land, and they did so. And they brought him to the palace, and they designated time, and they found 20 of them in all, a mix of boy and girls, all wondering why they had been summoned. Your home has need of you, the emperor proclaimed as they gathered in his throne room. I am growing old and need to rest. I need a new emperor to carry on in my place. One of you will be that emperor. He motioned to his servants, and a line of servants, 20 servants in all, filed into the room and stood each one before a child. Into the child's hand, each servant placed a small gold box, so small you could hide it in your fist. There is just one simple test, said the emperor, as the servants gave the boxes to the children. In each box, you will find a pinch of orchid seed. Return home, plant the seed, and grow your flower. Be sure to tend them carefully. The orchid is delicate, slow, and fickle as the wind. It requires a patient heart and a gentle hand and an attentive mind. The children clutched the boxes tightly. Now return home and sow your seeds. The first day of winter, return to the palace with your best flower. Thus shall I choose the next emperor. So the children returned to their homes, each carrying their seeds in a small clay pot, and they made quite a sight, and word of the test soon spread throughout the land, and they soon would have a new emperor and a young emperor. Everyone in the empire was happy, everyone except Aziza, that is. Aziza was one of the 20 children selected for the test, and Aziza was the youngest and the poorest of all the children. The other children had walled gardens, but Aziza had a pinch of dirt she had stolen from the chickens. But she carefully chose the best place, a nice patch of sun, and planted her seeds carefully. Throughout the whole long season, she tended to her seeds with care. She watered them daily and sheltered them from the bruising rains. She carried stones and built a wall to keep the chickens away. On the advice of an older woman in the village, she even sang to the seeds so that they would enjoy her voice. Aziza was as gentle and patient and attentive as a child could be, but still nothing grew. So Aziza tried even harder. She barely ate, she barely slept. She devoted all of her days to the growth of her seeds so she might prove herself worthy to rule the empire, but still nothing grew. The first day of winter came, and Aziza looked forlornly at her little clay pot. She would never be chosen. She would never be anything. She thought about staying home, but she knew they would just send someone to fetch her, so she picked up her empty pot and started the long road to the palace. The road was well kept and guarded, so she had no trouble. At points, it was even beautiful. The sides of the road were walled with trees and flowers, and as she neared the palace, she passed a beautiful patch of orchids, all vibrant purple, just beginning to bloom. It made her feel sick. She had tried her very best with her seeds, and they didn't even sprout, and here was the wild, uncared for, unattended, and they grew to be so beautiful. Then a dark thought crossed her mind. She could take the most beautiful of the wild orchids and put it into her pot, and no one would ever know, and she could have a chance at being emperor. She looked right and then left and let her fingers touch the slender stem of the orchid so beautiful it took her breath away. But as her fingers just touched it, she stopped. She froze. This was cheating, she said to herself. It was wrong. If she couldn't grow an orchid from the emperor's seeds, then she shouldn't rule a garden, much less an empire. It was hard, but Aziza knew in her heart she was doing the right thing. Empty pot loosely in her grasp, she finished the trek to the castle and entered. In the throne room, she found that unlike last time, it was filled to the brim with people all eager to see who the next emperor would be. In a few minutes, all 20 children were lined up, and in front of each child was their clay pot. 19 of the pots had orchids so beautiful it would bring a tear to your eye. But the 20th pot, Aziza's pot, was empty. She was bright red with embarrassment. The emperor entered the room to cheers and shouts, and he seated himself on the throne. He motioned for a quiet and surveyed the children's pots. Excellent work, all of you, he said. But Aziza saw his eyes rest on her pot. I shall now choose the new emperor, he said. But first I must tell you the true nature of the test. The room became silent. As you know, each of these children were given a pinch of healthy seeds, or so they thought. But in reality, the seeds had been boiled, sterile, and would never grow no matter what was done to them. What an emperor needs above all is integrity. Then it was the other 19 children who turned to look at the ground, red-faced, embarrassed, and guilty. Integrity means telling the truth, even when it is hard. Integrity means doing what is right even when no one is looking, especially when no one is looking. Integrity is moral strength, and before me I see one child with strength enough to move mountains. Aziza, you are the only one who did not cheat the test. You are the only one who dared come before me with an empty pot. Aziza, you will be our next emperor. The crowd roared, and Aziza felt herself being swept up and paraded around the room as a crowd chanted her name. She had become the emperor after all. And all these long years later, all over the world, people still tell the tale of Aziza, the honest, and the emperor's seeds. The Torah portion this week is a Torah portion that includes a story about what the people will do when they enter the promised land. And it turns out that 6 tribes are to stand on one mountain and 6 tribes are to stand on another. And in the middle are to be the Levites and the people who are hearing the words that are coming down from the mountain. And the blessings and curses that the 12 tribes are saying are reminders of the importance of living with integrity. All of the things that they warn at this moment as they're entering the land are things relating to what someone might do when no one is looking. And so just like this story, it teaches us that if we want to be our best version of ourselves, we must live up to Aziza's example, live up to doing things that are difficult, even when it would be just so much easier to cheat a little bit. So now that we've told our story, which is meant to prepare us for the High Holy Day season ahead, I understand that in this month of September, we happen to have a few birthdays. Okay, I think I'm going to turn off my background pictures so everyone doesn't get dizzy looking at me. Okay, I will do that in just a second, but I understand that there are a few birthdays. So if you are someone under the age of 13 and you are having a birthday this month, I invite you to unmute and let us know. I know a few people here who are. So, Olivia, how old are you turning, Olivia?
9. Raise your hand, Olivia.
How old are you turning?
9.
9. And Noah, it's your birthday on the 14th, right? And how old are you turning?
8.
8. And I happen to have a little girl on my lap who also has a birthday the day before yours. And how old are you turning, Talia? You're turning 8 as well. Is there anyone else who has a birthday this month? Children, next week we're going to give birthday blessings to everyone over the age of 13. But we have 3 amazing kids who are celebrating birthdays. And so I'd like to offer this blessing for each of you. Today, we celebrate another year, a year of wide smiles and belly laughs, a year of friendship and love, a year of embrace, both physical and emotional, a year of scraped knees and bloodied elbows, scars of honor, and developing new skills, new strengths, and new talents, a year of growth of mind and spirit, a year of mistakes, and a year of great success. What a year it has been. Mishaberach avotenu v'yemotenu, may the one who blessed our ancestors bring blessings to you as you embark on a new year filled to the brim with possibility. As you grow in body, may your heart grow even larger, bursting with love and compassion. May you strive to do your best, and when you fail, may you remember that failure is just a stepping stone to even greater heights. May you remember that you are a blessing, that the day that you were born, God decided that the world simply couldn't exist without you. Above all, may you know that you are loved beyond measure. Let us all join together in wishing you the happiest of birthdays. Let us all say, Amen.
Amen. Happy birthdays.
Happy birthday, Peanut. In addition to our blessings over our awesome children, we also offer blessings for all those in our community who are in need of healing of mind, healing of body, or healing of spirit. If there is someone for whom you'd like to offer the Mishaberach blessing, I invite you to write their name in the chat on Zoom or also on Facebook, and I'll read their names out loud. Tobia ben Avraham Yidaruchel Bat Sarah Leah, Tim Palno, Daniel Fisk, Nadine Wilkerson, Elaine Grove, Karen Fowler, Elaine Enton, Reva Skoll, Sarah Gill, Stanley Schneider, Sylvia Davis, Marguerite McMahon, Jacob Blake, our military members, Hannah McCulloch, Janice and Richard Sirote, Terry Desmond, the Skoll family, Josie Gianetto, Jackie Barley, Mr. Haywood, David Bernstein, Steve Skoll and Sarah Gill, Al Zirkis, Ruth Kirshner, Cheryl Brand, Matthew Josephson, Denise Valois, Valerie Ashley, Josh Montgomery and Susan Felberg, Rick and Barbara Aber, Sheila Chandra, This Country, Olivia Felsher, Barbara Burke, Marty Spiegel, Amanda Klutz, Judith Summerstein, Alexandra Levine, Cousin AJ and Julia and Ina, and everyone else who is in our hearts, everyone who is suffering from COVID-19, and everyone who is worried about someone suffering with COVID-19. Together, let us offer these words of healing in the Mishaberach prayer.
Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor HaBeracha May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor HaBeracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim. Blessed are you, God, whose healing presence is with all of those in need. And let us all say, Amen.
In addition to our Mishaberach prayer, we're going to go to the next slide as we think about people who have died recently or who have died at this time in years past. We are mourning the recent death of Elizabeth Benz, a good friend of Bonnie Leopold. We are also remembering Alan Binstein, Reva Skoll's brother, who died recently. We're observing the yahrzeits of Carl Abramson, Ruth Cohen Allenstein, Alvin August, Zipporah Bleedrack, Jay Cohn, Leonard Cohn, Jerome Fish, Ida Fishman, Pauline Fleischman, Annie Friedman, Arlene Frischman, Alex Ishkovitz, Anna Kamholtz, Esther Canaster, Sam Kaufman, Malcolm Klein, Nathan Korn, Evelyn Kurtzstein, Charlie Lakritz, Abraham Lebenthal, Harry Lenzer, Ephraim Letts, Al Manuel, Max Matlas, Meyer Mincer, Belle Perlman, Gert Perlstein, Vicky Magnus Pines, Arthur Prince, Byron Remanowski, Isidore Rubenfeld, Louis Scher, Ellis Smoldwitz, Hannah Kai Spector, Emmanuel Stahl, Morris Topper, Robert Euler, and Paul Weinstein. In their memory, and in memory of people who have no one to say Kaddish for them, let us offer these words of prayer. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'amad divra chirotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yomachon, uv'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevrach le'olam olamei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabak, v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nachamata da'miram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, alenu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories forever be a blessing.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
I'm so glad that all of you are here. Truly, your presence makes a difference and makes this Shabbat so much more special. I'd like to turn it over to the one, the only, the immensely talented Donnie Paquin to give some announcements on behalf of the board.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay. You know, technology, I have my all of my things I want to tell you, and where did it go? There it is. So as the rabbi so kindly introduced me, I'm Donnie Paquin, and I am very happy to be here on behalf of the board of directors. It is my pleasure to share with you some of our upcoming services and programs. And as a reminder, all of our Zoom links and virtual details can be found in your weekly emails. If you're not receiving weekly emails, you are welcome to contact Temple Administrator Carrie, and she can sign you up. You don't want to miss them, so definitely get yourself signed up if you're not. Every morning at 9 a.m., we continue our Elul Reflections program during the month of Elul. Each day, we hear the resounding sound of the shofar and listen to High Holy Days reflections from members of our community. This program is offered on Facebook Live and on our Temple Bethel YouTube page. If you haven't been able to check it out, you absolutely should. It's fantastic for many reasons, but one of those reasons is to get to know the members of our community in a really meaningful way. It's quite beautiful. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., please join us for our service of healing for body, mind, and spirit. This special service utilizes a blend of music, poetry, prayer, and meditation. And as a reminder, the meditation class has been canceled for tomorrow, but we'll gather together at 7 p.m. with Rabbi Cassi for Havdalah. This musical service marks the symbolic end of Shabbat and ushers in the new week. Our final High Holy Days boot camp will be next Thursday, September 10th at 7 p.m. This session is called Our Father, Our King, Exploring New Interpretations of Avinu Malkeinu. And finally, please mark your calendars for next Saturday evening, September 12th, as we will gather together at 7 p.m. for our Slichot service, a special service that prepares us for the upcoming days of awe. The service will be filled with the beautiful, uplifting, and soul-searching music of our special guest, Neshama Carlbach. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, Donnie. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Olivia. And with that, I think that we are going to whisk you away into Oneg Shabbat, right, Rabbi? Just making sure. We're going to whisk you away into Oneg Shabbat. And so as I open the rooms, you will be taken away into a wonderful room with 9 or 10 of your best friends. And if they're not now, they will be after you've been there. So Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Have a great Oneg Shabbat. Yay.